Now, back in 2009, the more superior form of mobile and portable gaming was believed to be on a device like this, the Nintendo DS, or maybe even something like the PlayStation Portable. Big name developers making big budget games for on-the-go play. And while Apple and Android were making mobile devices at the time, none of the games on the system were taken very seriously. I mean, so long as your big top sellers were Angry Birds, Subway Surfers, and Candy Crush, nobody's gonna bother building an in-depth game that takes time to complete. But there was one developer that was going to break that stereotype with a game so ambitious, so detailed, and so far ahead of its time, it would be something that we had never seen before, and I personally believe we've never seen since. The idea was to make Gran Turismo on this, and not some kind of sorta look-alike, legitimate, fully in-depth Gran Turismo on mobile. The name of this project? GT Racing Motor Academy. Now I've been looking forward to this episode, so let's get right into it. Released in late 2009 by Gameloft, GT Racing Motor Academy was given high praise for its impressive car list, realistic handling, and deep career mode. This game would remain at the top step of mobile racing simulators until its sequel, GT Racing 2, pushed it by the wayside. A sequel that unfortunately wasn't even close to capturing the magic of the first game. Ultimately, GT Racing Motor Academy would end up being delisted and removed from digital stores in 2016. This game is incredibly special to me and was a daily player for several years. So let's begin the hunt. So before this hunt even began, I already have GT Racing Motor Academy on my iTunes purchase section. And I thought for a brief moment that downloading and playing the game again might be pretty easy. But I should have known because it crashed upon opening. Now there's two possibilities here. Possibility 1, my iPad 4 was outdated for some reason. Or option 2, the version of the game I was using was just too buggy for some reason, or something. Either way, iOS, for whatever reason, was completely out of the question for now. Which meant that the Android version was my primary focus to get this game running again. Things started off pretty slow. My main issue was locating the game's OBB or data files, which, if you don't know how Android apps work, especially games, installing them usually requires two file types: an APK file for installation, and then there's the OBB file, which includes all the app's data and inner workings. In this case, the APK files for GT Racing were pretty easy to find, but the data files, or that OBB file, not so much. All the usual suspects for finding files like these were not helpful at all. Old version, new version, it didn't seem to matter. I started to worry that I might have been too late trying to hunt down this game, but I wasn't giving up yet. You see, after some digging, I realized that unlike most games, which have a data-specific file that goes into the OBB section of your device. You see, Gameloft did things differently on Android. Unlike their OBB files being stored in the OBB folder on most Android devices, Gameloft instead stores the data files in their own folder on the device, which pretty much meant I was barking up the wrong tree this entire time. Now, by chance, I decided to dive a little bit deeper onto YouTube. This time not looking for recent gameplay videos, but specifically looking for a video of someone playing this game, showing exactly how to download and install it. So you can imagine my surprise when I see that a video has been posted very recently with a link to both download the APK and the data files that I've been looking for. A massive thank you to, well, I'm not even going to try and butcher that name. Well, a massive thank you to this user for the work they did to help conclude this hunt, because I'm not sure I would have ever found the needed files to play GT Racing Motor Academy ever again without them. And oh my goodness, what a blast from the past GT Racing Motor Academy is. The Gran Turismo vibes are very strong, especially a Gran Turismo 4 style vibe specifically. I mean, the main menu alone is just, it looks just like it came out of Gran Turismo. There's license challenges that are all too familiar. There's off-road rally events sprinkled in as well. One thing though that isn't copied from Gran Turismo is the main menu music. This alone will take many players back. Okay, now on to the tutorial section of the video. Okay, obviously, as you saw earlier in the video, I was unable to locate a working version of the game, this game for Apple. So this guy is going to be sidelined, and we only have a working Android version. Now, this works on both actual Android devices and emulators, and for this example tutorial demonstration I'm going to be using an emulator, but they're almost identical. There's some slight differences between the emulator and the mobile device. I will explain where they are at, but at their base they're virtually the same. So first things first, we gotta have the game files. So link will be in the description to this page right here. Huge shout out to this user right here. Massive shout out to them for making this possible. This is the link that will be in the description. Okay, so once you're to this page, want to just hit the download button, and it will actually start a download on here. Once that download is complete, it will show up in the bottom left of the screen as a zip file. Now, normally I would tell you to extract that zip file. That's what normally happens, but not this time. Okay, in this case, we want to leave it as a zip file for now. Now, I'm going to head over to the emulator. Emulator I'm using for this is BlueStacks. I've also done this on Nox, but there are issues with the Nox version. It seems to, well, honestly, both emulator versions, there seems to be some frame rate drops, pretty severe in some cases, but BlueStacks seems to run this game way better than Nox, so I wouldn't, in this case I wouldn't recommend Nox, I would recommend BlueStacks. So if you don't have BlueStacks yet, I guess I'll throw a link in the description for BlueStacks as well. But the main thing you want between BlueStacks or a phone, you want to have an app called ZAchiever, okay? You not only want it on your emulator, but you also want it on your phone. It's a key part of making this work on both devices. Again, in this case, we're using the emulator. So let's see, what do we want to do? Let's see, going to go over here to System Apps, Media Manager. Okay, open this bad boy up. Should have a page like this come up. Okay, from here you would hit this button right here, Import from Windows. Okay, this will import a file from your computer onto BlueStacks. Okay, so hit that and it will bring up your viewer, obviously. So now we want to go find that zip file that we have not extracted yet. Okay, and here's the zip file. Okay, you can either double click it or you can click it once and then hit the open button, doesn't matter. And then it will boot it up and start importing that zip file into BlueStacks. Obviously, if you're using this on a phone, you wouldn't need to import it from Windows. If you had ZAchiever on your phone, as soon as you downloaded the zip file, it would go straight onto your ZAchiever app, and you'd be able to check it out from there. But again, in this case, we're going to use this, which just has, the emulator just has a slight few differences and a slight few more steps. So there we go. It's now imported the file, and it's showing up right here, okay? What you want to do is just click it, and that will send you straight to ZAchiever, okay? Since ZAchiever is already on this device, it sends it straight to ZAchiever, which is exactly what we want it to do, okay? This has got, and as you can see, this is actually from inside the zip file. So you can see we have a GameLoft folder, that's your data file, and then there's your APK file. We don't want to touch that APK file just yet. So let's see if we can back. Yes, we can go back. So here's the zip file. We were just inside of it. Here's the zip file. Let's extract it. Multi-select. Checkbox. And there we go, extract. We're going to just extract it right here. We don't want to move it anywhere too far away. And obviously it will extract this file and break it into the two parts we just saw, the GameLoft data file and the APK file. The first thing we want to use and move is this GameLoft file right here. Okay, so you're going to click and hold it. You have a whole bunch of options. You just want to copy it. Okay, hit copy, device memory, and then paste down here in the bottom right corner. Okay, I will paste it directly to the main page of the ZAchiever, straight to your main memory. And we're not burying it in some OBB file buried deep inside the Android. We're just putting it right up on the main frame. Okay. Take a little bit. There's a lot of files to move around here. Okay, and here it is right here. Okay, if we click GameLoft, it's going to be games, then GT Racing, and then all the data files inside of that. Okay. For some reason, that's the way GameLoft did it instead of just using the OBB. I still find that really strange, but whatever. So now we need to get back. We got to get back to find that APK. So we're going to move ZAchiever, bring Media Manager back up, and click this again. Okay. So bring it back up, go back, and there's that APK. So let's click that, and then click the Install button. Should come up. Obviously, you'll see here it wants permission to read phone status and identity and modify or delete the contents of your SD card. So if you don't feel comfortable with that on your phone, you can just use the emulator because they're not getting squat on an emulator. Install. Click that install button. Boom. Almost immediately. Click open. And let's see if it worked. Oh, it's got to verify the files, which it should find since they are in the system. Hey! Bingo! We might as well watch this intro. This intro is amazing. Let's make it full screen. Why not? awesome. This game is just amazing. I cannot speak highly of this game enough. And so, boom, bingo, like clockwork. Alright, and that concludes the tutorial. So, that's going to conclude it for this tutorial. Alright, and that will conclude the tutorial section of the video. I'm now going to kick it over to the next segment, where I'll give you some final thoughts and some gameplay. In conclusion, GT Racing Motor Academy is probably the closest mobile will ever get to a Gran Turismo level simulation game. Especially in the rally sections where you can really tell what kind of potential this game had. But unfortunately, the sequel would be a step backwards in my opinion. If I'm being honest, if this game was polished up a bit and the hitboxes and the walls were worked on, this game would still be an extremely popular one today. I personally just can't get enough of the rally sections. The sense of driving on the edge of control with barely enough traction to keep you pointed in the right direction. It's incredibly challenging, but I find that the most fun about this game. The massive car selection, tracks, weather conditions, it's all right there at your fingertips. But anyway, that'll do it for this week's episode. I'll leave you all with some gameplay. If you're enjoying this series, be sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really does help this channel out a lot. Now, if this is your first episode that you've seen, there's actually a couple more before this one you can go ahead and check out. And be sure to stick around because there's a lot more episodes to come. And stick around till after the gameplay to see a sneak peek of the next episode. So until next time, keep on gaming, everybody. On the next episode of Delisted. The year is 2010, and my family and I are on our way to go shopping at a local store. Now, obviously, my older brother and I weren't too excited to tag along and go shopping, so while everyone else went shopping, my older brother and I went over to the electronics section, Little did I know that today would be the day I would discover one of the most important mobile Need for Speed games of all time.